Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be starting our next book club pick, and that is the February pick of 2025, and that is Phantasma. You guys picked a Romantasy. I feel like most of you picked this either because like you legitimately like Romantasy or you want to see me suffer. I feel like there's no in between. I feel like those are the only two camps, is those two options. But I have heard amazing things about this. This actually was recently posted as one of the finalists for the Book of the Month, like year winner in 2024. So I feel like that's pretty awesome. I feel like that means a lot of people actually have liked this, because I feel like you kind of have to be a little mainstream to win or even be really kind of included in Book of the Month. Like, yeah, they do pick some things that are kind of separate to be like a finalist, though. I feel like you kind of have to be a little bit mainstream. So I have heard fantastic things about this one, that basically it's like a dark version of Caraval, I feel like is like what I heard. So I feel like this could not go wrong at all, right? Like this can't go wrong. So anyway, very quick introduction to the Lazy Book Club. If you have not been here before, this is just a super chill book club format where in the community tab, you go under there, there's a bunch of voting. Voting is currently closed right now. We have our picks through July. I am currently open to suggestions for picks from August through November, and then December is going to be our new annual get caught up on some series. I really like that we did that last year, so we're going to continue doing that this year. So I am open to suggestions for books to pick in August through November. So anyway, you guys go on there, you vote for your picks. Normally I pick 4 books and you guys vote for your favorite one, and then I announce them. So the next announcement will be at the end of June. So the next polls will probably start coming out, what is it? This month is March. April, May, June, probably May. Probably starting in May is when the polls will be coming out, and then the books will be announced in probably the end of June. But yeah, so that's kind of how the voting works, etc. But this is also a lazy book club, which basically means there is no live currently. That is something I would toy with doing later, but as of currently, it is definitely no lives. And that way you can just read the book basically when you want to. If you do want to read it on time, normally I post these videos at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month. So if you do want to read it before it comes out, normally, yeah, you want to read it before the last week of the month that the book club is for. I think this one's probably coming out like March 5th, around then. I'm not exactly sure when this is coming out, but I think it's the first week of March. So yeah, the idea is that you can just read it whenever you want. You can read it a year from now, you can read it too early, you can read it a week after this is posted, whenever you want to read it, and then you come back and we kind of just talk about it in the comments. Give me your rating, and you can post as long of a post as you want, talking about anything you want in the books. This is a full spoiler vlog, so comments are full spoilers, so do not go to the comments if you do not want spoilers, because at this point we're getting into spoilers. So for February, like I said, we did pick Phantasma, which is an adult romantasy that is a Caraval kind of esque book where there are trials and there's this competition, and there's also some family drama that is going on in this book. And this is the point of the video where I tell you guys, you gotta leave if you don't want to know what's going on in this book. You gotta go, you gotta read the book, you gotta come back. If you don't care about spoilers or you have read the book, then let's move along to the next section and we'll get started with reading Phantasma. All right, we are at our very first update for Phantasma, and I have to say, I'm really enjoying this, actually. I'm kind of shocked about how much I am enjoying this. This is nothing kind of what I was expecting. I don't know if it's just because of the Romantasy books lately that I've been reading, like for the book box videos, but the writing is so good at this. Like, I can see why it was a book of the month, like, top thing, whatever, because book of the month does the top picks, the most popular, whatever, and Phantasma was one of them, and I was kind of curious because it does seem kind of not their normal stuff that they do, but this actually has really good writing. I was a little bit worried at the beginning because the first chapter was very, it's in third person, and it was very proper, which can be one of the problems when you do third person, where you feel kind of separated from the character. But as we've gotten more through the book a little bit, because I'm only about 84 pages in, this is a huge book. This is a huge book, which also has me a little concerned. But as you get more into the book, like, it definitely relaxes a little bit, and I feel like I've gotten to know the character a little bit more. So it was a little bit nerve-wracking for the first chapter, but it has gotten so much better, and I'm actually like having a really good time. So this is following our main character Ophelia, and I just realized I can talk about spoilers. I've done so many vlogs where I can't talk about spoilers. It's super weird suddenly doing one that I can. So yeah, basically the point that I've gotten to, it is the first night of Phantasma, and we just met the stranger again. So basically, the only thing that has happened so far in this book is we are learning about the family dynamic of Ophelia. So her name is Ophelia Grimm. She has a sister, Genevieve, and then their mother just died. It literally opened up with their mom dying, already dead, and it turns out that they're like a family of necromancers, and the family takes over, like, I guess it's one person at a time has the necromancer abilities. So when the mom died, Ophelia took over having the necromancer powers, so she can see the ghosts that are kind of just walking around, and this is taking place in New Orleans, which I thought was really, really cool and kind of perfect for what this is. And Genevieve, the sister, definitely doesn't really want anything to do with this. She definitely is more of like a socialite kind of person. It also took, I will say, it took me a second to kind of figure out the timeline for this, like, or not timeline, but the time period. And I looked up a couple things online. A lot of people think it's early 20th century, so that kind of adjusted how I was picturing people, and that also helped with my enjoyment of this, because I was originally picturing them in like jeans and like t-shirts and stuff, but that is not what this is. Like, they are like corsets and dresses and that kind of thing, and like my brain is picturing more like gothic attire, like Victorian Gothic kind of, which I'm loving. I think that's really, really cool. But that did take me a second. I feel like that was really confusing and not articulated super well at the beginning. And I think either I missed something. I definitely didn't see a date anywhere because I was looking everywhere for a date that this takes place in. But maybe I just missed like a part of the setting. But yeah, so it opens up with the mom dead. The sister really doesn't want anything to do with it. Ophelia is the one who is taking over the necromancer powers. And then they find out that the estate is going bankrupt and they're about to basically repo the house in 30 days. So they have to make all this money to do that. And it turns out that Genevieve has entered this brutal competition called Phantasma, and it kind of is like a traveling game. It's very much Caraval feeling, but very dark. Like, many people apparently die. So Ophelia, who cannot stand the idea of Genevieve getting hurt, decides to enter Phantasma as well to see if her sister really is there, because she's not 100% sure that her sister joined the game, but it does seem like the sister did. And then the other part is Ophelia has like, all I can think about is Dexter's Dark Passenger. If you've seen Dexter, you know what I'm talking about. He has basically like this evil side to him, and he calls it his dark passenger. And in this case, it's the shadow voice. It's not like a dark side, but it's like this voice speaking to her, telling her to do things. And it's definitely trying to show OCD in a certain way, where people have to like, oh, you have to tap things 3 times, or very specific numbers, or you give yourself time limits and you have to do something, and it's just your brain working against you and trying to sabotage you all the time. So that was really interesting. And then we've also, I believe, met the romantic interest. She meets, she called him the stranger, because she originally couldn't see him, and he is a phantom, we found out. He's not just an apparition, he is a phantom, and it seems like he definitely is enmeshed within the Phantasma game. I don't know to what extent. It seems like something, he's sketchy. I feel like he's gonna be a devil or something like that. I feel like that has to be that direction that it's going, or we're gonna have multiple love interests, which I hope not. I'm not a fan of that, so we'll see where that's going. And then we also met a cat. This could go in 1,000 different directions. There's also trials within the Phantasma thing, which is really cool. You cannot tap out during the trials. You have to basically ask for help. They have to allow you to leave the trials, which I think is really interesting. So I think that's kind of where we're heading now. Let's see. Night 2 of Phantasma. I don't know how the trials exactly work, but we're almost to Night 2 of Phantasma. But yeah, I am exactly on chapter 11 or page 83. So interested. I'm very interested. I think it's written really well, which is like 90% of the battle to get me into a book is if I think it's written well. So yeah, I'm really excited to continue this. I feel like this is probably going to go quickly as long as it stays this engrossing. I'm about 196 pages in, and we are about to move into the 4th night of Phantasma, and I believe the 3rd trial. I think we've only done 2 trials. Yes, we've only done 2 trials. I'm still loving it. Like, I'm having such a good time. I think the romance is actually working really well in this, because there's not that much romance. It's just a lot of tension, and that's fantastic. There was even an opportunity to take things further, and they didn't, and I loved it. Like so good. Okay, let's do a quick recap. I don't remember the last time we talked, but I think it was, oh, the thing is before the first trial. So they went and did the first trial, which was Limbo, which was the maze. I thought it was really, really good. And they don't need to be long. Like, I'm impressed. Most of the time when they do these types of trials things, I want these trials to be long or the competition to be long and drawn out and really get a lot of stuff going on, but it's working. These little like mini trial kind of things, it's working really, really well. And so we definitely are constantly talking to Blackwell, is now what I know his name is, and he is apparently a phantom. I still think he's something else, or he was a devil and became a phantom or something. I don't know. There's definitely something else obviously going on there, but he is trapped in this manor, is what he tells her, and apparently the key to getting him out is a key and a heart or something like that. There was something that he told her and he didn't even remember telling her. So his memory is all sorts of wonky. He can't really remember anything outside of the games. And during the games is the only time where he's really corporeal and able to like do things. And it turns out that he always makes a deal with one of the contestants. And a lot of times his contestants win, or at least that's what he's telling her. We don't 100% know like if what he's saying is accurate, but he decides to make a deal with her and she doesn't originally take it. So we go into the first trial, and like I said, the maze in Limbo, and there's like moving walls and crazy stuff, and then there ends up being a hellhound, and she ends up making through the first trial without any help. And she also has made like a definite enemy of one of the guys there who's just a pain in the ass. Think Jack Barlow. That is the stereotype of Cade. Cade and Jack Barlow are like the same character. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a character from Fourth Wing who immediately out the gate is an asshole. So anyway, yes, we did the first trial, and then she finally makes a deal with him, and it is, she has to basically, I think, find the key or break the curse or something. And if not, she gives him a decade of her life. And so she's like, that seems fine. Because in exchange, she's getting his help. He's going to heal her, he's going to teleport her, he's going to help her during the trials, etc. And thank goodness, because she would not have passed the second one. So we go into the second trial, and it ends up being Lust. And I was so impressed with how they did this one, because I saw that Lust was the second one, and I was like, they're gonna have sex and they're gonna do all this stuff, and it's gonna be, I'm gonna lose interest in it because they're gonna start a relationship like right away. No, I was so impressed. I was so impressed that she also mostly was able to do the trial herself. Like, at first I was like, oh, she's not gonna be able to get through any trials without him, but she pretty much got through the trial without him. And yeah, so there was definitely a moment where they could have like kind of had a relationship, especially with Lust being the background of this trial, but I'm really impressed that it did not happen. And we're 200 pages in and they haven't kissed or done anything, which I am obsessed with. But yeah, so we finished the Lust trial, which I thought was like a really interesting one, because I really was convinced that was Blackwell, and then it turned out to be some ghoul or vampire. I'm still not sure exactly what that was. But yes, we finished with that, and she found another passage. They're basically just trying to find these passageways. Oh yeah, Cade hurt her, and Blackwell found out and did something to him. I don't know what he did to him, but I love that. So anyway, we're one chapter away from moving into night 4 of Phantasma, so I feel like my recap was really bad, but I'm just really, really enjoying this. This is so bingeable. I actually probably would have finished this book by now, but I read a book yesterday that I couldn't put down. I ended up reading the entirety of The Favorites yesterday. That was crazy. That was actually crazy that I could not put that book down. I listened to a lot of it, and then I switched to the physical book for the back end to really pay attention because I started losing focus. But yeah, that was a crazy experience. So we're gonna mostly read this today and tomorrow, and I don't think this is gonna take me very long because it is flying by. I'm actually setting up in here to start the next Outcrate vlog. I liked that I started the last one super early because it gave me time to like read a bunch of stuff, and it also gives me more options. So while I'm working on the Outcrate vlog, I can work on a new secret project that I'm working on, and then I can also work on reading my book box book. So it gives me a lot of different options that I can work on all at the same time. Feels more like mood reading, which is definitely my preferable way of reading things. I'm definitely a mood reader who is attempting to do stuff in a TBR manner, which is not going super great, but I needed to get through these books. But anyway, I am up to 300 and where am I at? 308. We've gone through 2 more trials, I believe. Yes. Are we? Is it 2 more trials? Yes, we're on level 5. So yeah, I talked about trial 1, Limbo and Lust, and then we just went through Greed and Gluttony. And I will say they were a little bit harder to like visualize. And I did speak too soon about sex because it has become about sex. And it is starting to lose me a little bit, I will say, because I don't get it. Like for me, the tension before like in books and movies and stuff, the tension beforehand, that's like what is the most attractive thing, and that's what gets you really invested in the relationship when everything finally happens. Like to me, a really good romantasy book would be like these super tense moments, and then one of the final chapters would be like everything happening. And the rest of the book is just like intense pining and talking and just like that kind of stuff. That's just how I like romance books, which is why romantasy is such a struggle for me, because like it is just normally filled with sex. And then I'm normally okay with later books having obviously more sex scenes when the relationship is already established, but there still has to be a really strong plot. That's what I'm struggling with right now. I am rereading the A Touch of Darkness series. I loved A Touch of Darkness. It's the Persephone's Hades series. I DNF'd A Touch of Ruin last time. I just finished it, and it's like Hades has no purpose in the story except for having sex, and I don't like it. Like that's what it comes down to. There is no plot for him. Like there is no purpose. There is no connection, it feels, between the two of them. And unfortunately, this is almost where this is heading, because every time they talk now, besides in a trial, they have sex first. And I'm just like, I don't like this. It was so much better before when it was so tense. One of the most attractive moments in any movie or book ever is the 2005 Pride and Prejudice. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's when Mr. Darcy helps Elizabeth up into the carriage and he flexes his hand after he lets her go. That is like the hottest thing ever, okay? That. And I feel like these books miss the point. Like they miss the point of that now. Like there isn't that tension anymore in these books. They just jump right into the sex when they feel like it's appropriate. And it's like, that's not the point. Like draw it out, like make it feel intense. So unfortunately, it has jumped into sex every couple chapters. And luckily, it does have a good plot base, so I'm still enjoying the plot. I'm just not super buying the relationship, because it just, for me, I needed it to be I needed to be the end of the book that it happened, basically. And I needed to keep focusing on the plot because it just feels so weird. They're on such a time crunch and they're taking their time to like do stuff together, and it's just like, why? You literally don't have time for this. So quick recap, second or third level was Greed, and I struggled a little bit with visualizing it, because it was talking about how it was like they were in these gilded cages. That was a hard word to say. Or gilt cage, I don't know, golden cages that were hanging over this like pit of lava. It's just hard to imagine it. I also feel really weird that Ophelia constantly needs Blackwell's help in these trials. I don't love that. I wish she did most of the trials by herself, because the other contestants are able to do it. Although I'm starting to think that there's other demons and stuff who have deals and are helping them, and that's part of the game. We obviously know something is going on with Lucy. I knew right away. When she got through even the first trial, I was like, something's going on with her. But anyway, I hate that she can't do them on her own, and they're kind of getting a little bit absurd now, where it's just kind of like, they're just so kind of abstract in my brain. Definitely let me know if you think they're more clear-cut than I'm getting, because obviously it could just be me having an issue with them. But I was just having such a problem, because I said she was in this cage, but then she's like climbing up the cliff in the cage. Like, how big is this cage? Because I'm thinking it's like human size. So she hunched in the cage, dragging the cage up with her up the side of the mountain as she's climbing. I feel like that would be so hard. Like, if you don't, like, she's a girl in like a Victorian era type situation. She's not gonna have the body strength to do something like that, right? Like that I was a little bit sus about that. And then we had the next trial, which was, what did I say? It was Gluttony. And that one, I didn't really get that one. That one was where they were like on one side of a platform, and they could technically only go straight because they had the collars on, but she was able to get out of hers because the apparition thing, she can disappear parts of her body, and so she was able just to like dodge around. But it was like swinging things, and if you stepped on a platform, you got a gold bar, or you didn't, and then they started swinging. It was just really overly complicated. And it was very hard to keep track of what was happening in that scene. So I don't think that one was done very well either. That one's probably my least favorite so far is that one, which makes me concerned because they're slowly getting worse as the book is going on, the trials. I'm not very happy about that. So I'm hoping the next ones are better, or at least like I can just visualize them better. I'm just having a really hard time visualizing. Hopefully this book gets a little bit better because it was going really, really well. And I'm a little shaky right now. Okay, we have officially finished Phantasma. I will say, as the book went on, my enjoyment for it definitely decreased. And I think that's mostly because of the romance. Like, I just really didn't vibe with the romance because of it just switched. It just switched from being tense to just being about sex and then saying that they were in love, but I didn't buy it. I really didn't buy it. So I think I still really like the plot and I really like the characters. So I think I'm gonna give it, I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I really enjoyed my time reading this. It was a very quick read for how long this book was. And again, I think that's because the writing was really well, although I will say, if you read it on Kindle Unlimited, there were a lot of spelling mistakes that I was kind of surprised about. They are not in here, at least that I remember, but like one that really stuck out to me is I think they were saying a character was interlocking his fingers, but in the Kindle Unlimited version, it said he was interlicking his fingers, and I was like, that's not right. So I double checked it in here and it was correct in here and wrong on Kindle. So someone definitely edited it before it got more traditionally published, because I think is it traditionally published? It's published by Forever. I don't know who that's under, but it definitely went through some editing. But I think this was written really, really well. Like spelling, I can actually get over spelling errors. It's the actual writing that I care about more. And this writing was actually really, really good. It was compelling. Like I said, I really like the characters. I do think the rest of the trials were a lot better. Where was I? 4? And I think they had 3 more. Yeah, because there was like only, well, no, there was 8 trials, right? And then the 9th one, there wasn't actually a trial with the 9th one. The 9th, I was a little confused with how the ending worked because I thought there were supposed to be 9 trials. But apparently the 9th trial is just one person going to talk to the devil. But yeah, so let's see. What trials did we not talk about? There was, Gluttony was the last one we talked about. And then I don't remember the order of things happening, but we figured out that the parents met in Phantasma and they were cursed because they fell in love. And then the dad became obsessed with her and she basically stopped being interested. We also lost Lucy as a character because Lucy fell in love with somebody in the tournament. So she left, decided to leave. And then we did trials, what was it, 6 and 7? See, I don't even remember that much about the romance because it was literally just them having sex every time that they hung out. And I didn't appreciate that. Level 5 is Wrath. Oh no, Wrath was the one where they had like the pedestals and literally only so many people could move on. So Kay decided to try to kill Edna and then Edna just gave up. So they all moved on besides that. So that was kind of a weird one, but I kind of liked how simple it was because it was just like 6 of you are moving on. One of you you have to get rid of one of you or one of you has to give up. I thought that was very interesting because it does create this like pack mentality kind of thing. And then we moved on to, oh yeah, we finally learned about the Whispering Gate. The Whispering Gate is like, it's basically the other side, right? It's kind of like a version of the other side, or like, it's like in between this side and the other side. I'm not exactly sure how the Whispering Gate works, but she was able to talk to her mom, who kind of explained some things to her. And we didn't really get that much from that, mostly just saying like, don't follow my path, I was too hard on you, all that type of stuff. I love you, tell your sister I love her, those kinds of things. We didn't really get much from the mom, except she said stay away from Blackwell, and she kind of said it's dangerous to fall in love with him or something like that. Level 6 is Deceit. I don't even remember this one. Oh yeah, level 6 was Deceit. That level was crazy. That was actually a crazy level. Yeah, it was really just levels 3 and 4 that I didn't like. The rest of the levels were really good. This one was where they had to guess if they prick their finger or something like that, and they have to read out a lie or a truth. And you have to guess whether it's a truth or the lie. And if you're wrong, the thing crushes you. And I was like, That was insane. So they ended up kind of working together to actually like work that out, so that was good. But that was nuts. That was actually a crazy one. But luckily our main character really couldn't die because everyone was stuck in restraints, but our girl is part Spectre, so she was able to kind of get out her restraints and do whatever. So she was fine no matter what, but everybody else could have died. That one was nuts. Oh yeah, and then she kissed Sinclair and did other things with Sinclair, which I thought was a little bit random too, but I guess it was to prove to herself that she was falling in love with Blackwell, but I just felt like it wasn't necessary. Like, it was so random and unnecessary. Then we have night 8, which was, I don't remember which, or level 7. Yeah, level 7 was violence, and then she kills Cade. Like, that was crazy. I don't know if it says if it was something else, but this just says violence. So she kills Cade, and then she finally gets to go see Genevieve. So Genevieve has been here the whole time, and she also is a Spectre, and apparently has known her craft since she was a kid. So she's like flown through everything by basically just staying invisible the whole time. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I love Genevieve as a character. I kind of wish we were following her instead. She's really interesting as a character. And then we convince Genevieve to scram. Oh, we find out from Genevieve like exactly what's going on with the mom. The mom had bought a second property because of the obsession of the dad. She found out the dad was joining Phantasma for a second time to get his family back, basically, to break the curse. And the mom obviously didn't want that, and so she went and bought a second house, and that's what put them in debt. So that explains that side of things. And then right before the 8th trial, or literally right before it or right in it, we find out that Ophelia kind of puts it together because the 8th trial is telling two people from each other. Which was it called? Level 8 is called fraud, and basically two Genevieves show up and she has to figure out which one is the real one, and Blackwell really can't help with it. And it turns out that if she picks the wrong one, the real Genevieve will die in the real world, and she kind of figures out in her head the timeline of Phantasma, and it turns out the dad got to level 8 and chose incorrectly, and the mom died in real life, and that's why the mom just kind of dropped dead. And I was like, that was a good twist. I did not see that coming. I was shocked. That was so sad. Like, that seems like such a like shitty thing. Like, why does it affect people outside of Phantasma? That seems kind of dumb. I didn't love that kind of thing, but at the same time I loved it. Like, I loved it and I didn't love it at the same time. But that totally makes sense, and I like that it was something. It wasn't something absolutely crazy, like the mom wasn't murdered for this or this and there's like a big mystery going on. It was literally just he failed this and she died because of it. And I was like, dang, that sucks. Like, that actually sucks. Before that, we had convinced Genevieve to forfeit the competition, which was good. So she beat 8 and goes and opens up the Whispering Gate instead of waiting for level 9, which I thought was kind of weird. I didn't really understand that. But she goes in and Blackwell shows up, and it turns out that he is actually the Prince of Devils, and he just can't remember unless he is talking to a contestant in level 9. So he remembers everything, kind of talk to each other, and we figure out that, oh yeah, we do that like flashback, and we find out that the girl that died, her soul was put into that locket. That is the key to unlocking him from Phantasma, and she figures it out, says she loves him. She's cursed. We don't really know what the curse is, but he says, if you make a bargain with me, a lifetime bargain, we'll break the curse because I need that much power and I'll be able to stay with you. So obviously ends up picking him, and the epilogue is her and Genevieve apparently going somewhere, which I'm guessing is the next book. I didn't look up what the next book is about. I will be reading it. I will be reading the next book. Blackwell is at the house and they're all together and they still have the cat. I love that the cat came with them, even though he was apparently a spy for the king. So I thought it wrapped up pretty good. Like, you really don't actually need to move on. Like, I do want to know more about the locket and the soul, because I feel like we were given all this information at the end and it wasn't 1000% explained to us. So I would like that explained a little bit more, and I feel like that's what's going to happen in the next book. Is the next book Enchantra? Something like that? Because they mentioned that at the end of this book, Enchantra. So yeah, I am curious what this book is going to bring to the second book. I kind of hope we're following Genevieve. I'll put down below if it's following Genevieve or Ophelia. I'm going to check, but I think it's coming out in April. I'm actually really excited to start the next one. I like this enough to continue, but I do hope it's following a different character, because I do kind of feel like this story is wrapped up into one nice little bow, and we just have a couple of things, and I feel like Genevieve's romance or story would be a lot more interesting to start in the next book, and not just continue with something that I'm kind of just past. So anyway, finish this. I'm giving it a 3.5. I am happy I had a good time reading this. It's not like my favorite book. It doesn't really super stand out to me. I did like it more than Serpent on the Wings of Night, but I just had some issues with it. I had some issues with the romance, but I did really love the plot. I thought the plot was really, really good. Anyway, definitely make sure to leave a comment down below your rating, what you thought, your favorite characters, your favorite moments, your least favorite moments, what you wish was changed, just all the good stuff that we always talk about. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe so you miss any future content. Next month is March. Next month, I feel like a lot of people are gonna take off next month because it is the Grady Hendrix book. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls is our book next month, which is going to be interesting. Actually, let me grab it. It's actually really funny. This is our book for March. It's really funny because I have heard nothing good about it on BookTube, but then I went to Goodreads to like check if it was like a 3.5 or something, but it's still over a 4-star. So maybe BookTube, this is just not a book for BookTube maybe, and like other people are enjoying it. I don't know. I'm really confused about, I feel like the discrepancy I'm seeing between BookTube talking about it and what I'm seeing on Goodreads, because I feel like they generally mix pretty well, like I feel like. So I don't know, but this is gonna be an interesting one. So either way, if you decided to read it or not, I will be reading it. I will be having a full review for it out. I really hope I like it. I am probably gonna check out the audiobook just in case, because I have like Grady Hendrix books on audio. So yeah, we're gonna do this together, hopefully. If not, I'm doing it by myself. But anyway, this is our pick for March. Definitely make sure you subscribe so you miss that, so you don't miss that. I just released the book club picks for April through July, so definitely go check that out. It has some really, really good picks. I think the back half of the year is gonna be really, really good. So yeah, like I said, make sure you comment, subscribe, and like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.